looking at presidential politics in the U.S. Political analyst and fellow at Rutgers University, Michael McCoy, joins us to examine the strengths and weaknesses of President Obama and his Republican challenger, Mitt Romney. Welcome back to the show. Always
very
a pleasure
glad to
have
be
you.
back.
You know, as we advance toward November, we get more on the presidential election.
Yeah.
What are we looking at in terms of strengths and weaknesses on the part of the president and Mr. Romney?
Well, I think this election is really going to be all about President Obama's strengths and his weaknesses. And a new Pew poll came out that really told us a lot about President Obama's strengths. And what they told us is that he still has very high likability scores among the American people. That in all the measures of who do you trust more, who you're more comfortable with, President Obama was leading Governor Romney largely by double digits or very high single digits. But the one area where Governor Romney was leading the president was on who can handle the economy the best.
Right.
And in that area, the governor led the president 49 to 41. That's an 8-point gap. And that's a really big advantage for Governor Romney going into this election because most people decide who they're going to vote for based on their pocketbook. They also do it based on personal feelings, but as the economy continues to slide, as unemployment stays between 8 and 9%, this is a really great advantage for Governor Romney. And he's playing that up in all of his campaign speeches. All of his speeches are playing up both these points. He talks about how, you know, the president, he's a great guy, or he's, you know, I understand why you voted for him, but he's in over his head. And I'm the guy who has experience in the economy, I'm an accomplished businessman, and I'm the one who can turn this economy around, and it's really causing problems for the president going forward.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the strengths that we talked about with respect to Mitt Romney is that he has this business experience.
Yes.
He's the corporate guy that comes in with the know-how to reduce the deficit and bring back jobs. But at the same time, he's been trying to position himself as an everyman in a lot of his spots. And does that work?
Certainly the president doesn't want it to work. And so he's trying to chip away at this advantage of Romney's by talking about how, well, he was involved in vulture capitalism. The companies that he worked for were engaged in outsourcing and offshoring, which means literally sending jobs overseas. Outsourcing being, well, some of the services were done overseas. Offshoring mean we literally sent jobs overseas. So the Obama campaign is really trying to break down this advantage he has in terms of being a businessman by saying, well, him being a businessman was about making himself wealthy. You know, his house has a car elevator. Sure. He has all these different mansions. He's really a guy from Wall Street. He's not like you. So really trying to tear at that advantage that Governor Romney has and saying that I, as a president, am much more like you. I'm more concerned about the issues that you care about. I'm more concerned about issues such as contraception, reproduction rights. In terms of the new policy he just announced regarding young illegal immigrants, saying that we will no longer forcefully deport them, showing that he more cares about the issues that are important to people socially, and that Governor Romney does not have this advantage in economics because he will just ship your jobs overseas. He doesn't really care about the struggles you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis.
And of course, Romney still has the Bain Capital issue to deal with.
Yeah. And I think, we saw a lot of blowback from even Democrats about that a lot of people in the sort of more economic moderate wing of the party, particularly from the Northeast, so you saw Governor Cory Booker of Newark, you saw Mayor Cory Booker, Governor Ed Rendell of Pennsylvania, really starting to push back on this because these people have ties to Wall Street as well. So this strategy, President Obama, it's still a bumpy road, and that's why he's starting to maybe try to appeal to more social issues regarding, again, reproduction rights, same-sex marriage, immigration, to sort of re-energize the base he had from 2008 to hopefully still have the exact same outcome as 2008, which of course is a win.
Do you see this election morphing into the haves versus the have-less or have-nots?
Again, you know, that's what the Obama administration wants it to be, and I think that they're moving away from that. I think that's just not really going to work because most people, again, you see this in the Pew poll, you know, 49 to 41 for Governor Romney, and people know Governor Romney's wealthy. You know, this is not a surprise to people. So I think that strategy is something they're starting to move away from, and now it's, again, this sort of coalition of, well, who better understands where this country is going? And I think that's where the Obama campaign wants to take this. I think the haves and the have-less, it's not a campaign that the American people are always comfortable with because no matter where you are, you want to believe that if you're not the haves now, you will be the haves tomorrow.
Right.
So that's not the campaign you necessarily are more appealing to.
Let's talk about these social issues that the president has been raising. You get a sense that The president wants to be that guy that everybody liked, that yes, we can change.
Exactly.
But the Romney campaign has brought out the idea that, yeah, he said we could change, but we haven't changed. So does the president have to kind of disassociate himself from his previous campaign?
You know, I think he has to explain why. First, he has to say what promises he met with the Yes We Can campaign. And that's something that's been a little difficult for him because the difficulties of the economy came as a much bigger burden than the president expected. So he has to explain why all the promises of Yes We Can didn't come through, but he has to also demonstrate, yes, we did. We did accomplish many things. You know, again, this is why this decision this week about health care is so important, because he needs to be able to stand up and say, we did accomplish health care. Right. He needs to be able to stand up and say, we did make inroads on immigration. And that's a problem for him because he promised, he said, you know, the first day I would have a new DREAM Act, which said that young illegal immigrants who had gotten an education in the U.S. or has done military service would be able to stay. He didn't really follow through on that, and that's why he's had this change of policy now, because he needs to be able to say, yes, we did, and the Republicans will take that away. I mean, that's got to be the other part.
Well, here's another part. Has the president's press people been inept in talking about his successes? I mean, you talk about the Credit Card Act, the housing bubble, the mortgage things that he initiated to prevent future problems like we had. I mean, there's a lot of things he's done. People who can keep their kids on the insurance now.
Yeah, this has definitely been a strange part of the administration. And one thing that's come up is then that the president, in a lot of ways, is the best communicator of his own administration. That his own press office, they really haven't figured out how to talk about his accomplishments. Again, because the way Senator Obama, candidate Obama, presented himself was he was going to be a bridge builder and bring people together. That didn't happen. He's faced a lot of opposition in Congress, and so they don't really know how to sell him as the partisan warrior. Again, the health care bill, it did not have it didn't really have any Republican support. The stimulus package,
a health care bill that came that was very similar to what Mitt Romney initiated
and even in
his own state.
Even in that case, Mitt Romney didn't support it. Even in that case, even though you actually had the mandate as a Republican idea, it was not supported by Republicans. And I think this completely threw the Obama people off. They expected to be able to sell like, oh, here is President Obama. Don't you remember the 2004 speech when he said there's no, red state America, blue state America, we're all America, and suddenly he's having to only stand with blue state America. I don't think they were ready to sell that message. Mm-hmm. They didn't necessarily know how to sell this health care bill if it was a partisan bill. And the Republicans, certainly to their political credit, knew how to fight this fight. And that's the problem the president's in now, that he's needing to fight this partisan battle. And going back to your point about the haves and the have less, the fight that the president is now wanting to have is not about have and have less, but is, freedom and restriction, opportunity and taking us back to failed policies. That's a fight he could possibly win, particularly in areas that benefited from the auto bailout. So we're talking about in Michigan, in Wisconsin, and Ohio. This is a message he can possibly sell. But again, we've got to constantly be looking at this unemployment number, because I think with his policy on immigration, mm-hmm. he's really done a good job of holding those important states of Colorado and Nevada, but can he hold the upper Midwest? Can he hold Ohio and Wisconsin and Iowa, these crucial states that brought him quite a big majority in 2008? Right. The economy is going to decide a lot of these different factors.
Of course, everybody's looking to awaken the sleeping giant, get those Latino voters, those who are newly registered. We'll see what happens there. Always fascinating to look into this political process. We'll have you back again for more.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.